Originally I was a kind-hearted senior brother in the sect, but now I personally stole the limelight of my junior sister. But when I was questioned by the law enforcement hall, my junior sister stood in front of me and said that she voluntarily gave up. I was asked by the system to be a good person, only because of my 9th reincarnation. But every time I was misunderstood by the heroine and died unjustly or was killed by the son of destiny as cannon fodder. When I opened my eyes again, it was already my 10th reincarnation. I decided to go dark with the system and become a big villain, but what I didn't expect was that after going dark, the heroines actually started to apologize to me. At this time I was sitting in the main hall facing my senior brothers in the law enforcement hall. Speaking Master Lin Hongye looked at me with a very disappointed expression on her face. I was the one who made it. After the voice fell, there was a commotion from all around. Lin Hongye suddenly slapped me with her palm. How could you do this to your junior sister? Looks so desperate. I wiped the corner of my mouth slowly and slowly left a trace of blood. Master, didn't you always teach me to cultivate not for others but for myself? I really don't understand why my favorite disciple became like this. At this time, my junior sister, Mu Shi, who was sitting on the side, suddenly said, no, it wasn't senior brother who initiated it. I voluntarily gave it to him. Everyone turned their heads and looked at her in surprise. Looking at Mu Shi, I couldn't believe what was happening to the system. Was there something wrong? I wonder if the host system was detected and turned black at the same time. Therefore, I modified the 9th life script. Modifying the script will reincarnate and move the target character to the center of the heroine's mind. What script is this in this situation, Mu Shi, why are you still defending him? Lin Hongye gritted her teeth and spoke, but Mu Shi shook her head, struggled to stand up, and turned to look at her brothers. I voluntarily gave it to her, not to her. A roaring sound was heard and everyone froze in place as if they had seen a ghost. Fengjiawang Qingfeng, the second wind of the Tianyin sect, Wu Jifeng, stepped forward and placed one hand on Mu Zai's eyebrows, raising her eyebrows and saying that she was a ghost. Okay and no problem. Lin Hongye still couldn't believe it and asked Mu Shi tremblingly, don't be afraid that the master and the wind master will make the decision for you. Teacher, I really gave this eye of hope to my senior brother voluntarily. I want to thank them more. I was also shocked in my heart. Zhang Qingfeng waved his hand. Hey, this girl must have fallen in love with this boy. It's hard to say that others are voluntary. We don't need to ask anymore. Besides, what else can I say? Eye of hope, I don't think that only the spiritual veins in both eyes were captured. Forget it, he led his disciples to fly out and the rest of the people also left here one after another. Our breathing became rapid. In the end, we had no choice but to talk. Mu Shi, you go down and rest first. As for you, Yi Cheng, no matter whether Mu Shi is voluntary or not, as her senior brother, you don't know how to take care of your younger sister. You should look at the cliff and think about it for 3 months. After saying this, Ling Hongye said I took Mu Shi to rest and heal, and I was left alone in a daze. As promised, big villain, you didn't punish me. After a while, I came to overlook Cliff and took out the script from the system. Red tears flowed from her eyes. Zaire. What's wrong? Don't cry. Master is here to accompany you. Mu Shi grabbed Ling Hongye's hand. Master no longer believed in reincarnation to speak. He only stared closely to signal her. Continue speaking, Master. Actually when senior brother gouged out my eyes, I saw the reincarnation of senior brother's previous life. Ling Hongye's eyes widened and immediately pondered, forming a light screen in front of her. Master, yesterday when my senior brother gouged out my eyes, my mind suddenly evoked memories of reincarnation. You will know Ling Hongye after reading this, dare not be careless. At the same time, I have roughly finished watching the drama. This time asked me to leave. The big villain teases his master and plays around with the little sister, host. I have had enough. In the future, the host please adopt the villain as a servant. Everything that is beneficial to the villain has been transferred into the mind of the target person, and the host is asked to start boldly. I don't know at this time even though I am reading the villain's script in this life, Mu Xin is reading the script in the previous life. Mu Xin worshipped at the mountain gate and sang a long song. From now on, you have to take more care of me. Do you understand? I looked at Mu Xin and smiled wholeheartedly. Master, don't worry, I will take good care of little sister. Mu Xin when she was young. Holding his fist and speaking indifferently, little sister, if you need anything in the future, just tell your senior brother. Mu Xin just raised her head and glanced at me. She didn't need it, she just gave face to her master. Your talent is not as good as mine. I don't need your help. After saying that, he turned around and left, leaving her behind. The back of the figure was stunned, then turned to 3 years later. Mu Xin's cultivation level has surpassed mine, because of the innate power brought by the Eye of Breaking Hope. Junior sister, your cultivation level has surpassed senior brother. I have nothing left. To teach her the Eye of Breaking Hope requires a lot of resources. These are the resources I have saved for the past few months. You should take them quickly. But Mu Xin in the picture just threw them away without looking at them. I need these resources from you. Look at the resources being thrown away. When I appeared in the picture, my heart was as sharp as a knife, and I smiled bitterly at the corners of my mouth, and the pain was heartbreaking. But when I saw this, I was in the process of refining alchemy. Brother Feng Chong, are you sure you want to do this? Can your body withstand the wind seal of alchemy? I was sitting in the alchemy furnace and smiled lightly. Master said that since I was her senior brother, I should protect her from the wind and rain, except for the Qingxin pill. Outside the picture, Mu Xin clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. The eye of breaking hope is the highest talent in the eyes of outsiders. Hope, it will appear on the 15th day of every month. The only way to relieve the pain of backlash is the 6th grade Qingxin elixir. And the long-lost Jiwei became an expert in trying the elixir. Mu Xin covered the corner of her mouth, with tears seeping into her hands and falling into the forest. Hong Yi was also stunned by Chong Jie. The picture turned off again. Zhang Jiwei successfully refined the Qingxin pill, but in the picture, my body was already covered in bruises and holes. I opened my eyes and forced myself to endure and asked. The latter nodded and became Qingxin. If so, then you can give the elixir to your younger sister. But don't say it's from me. She hates my older brother for being such a person. See, the memories of her own reincarnation in the picture have been conveyed by the system, which has made Mu Xin personally feel the pain. This is not you. This is you in your previous life, and you are different. Ling Hongyi opened her mouth to comfort Mu Xin, but she cried and said, Master, don't you think so? I know that I underestimated my older brother, but until he gouged out my eyes. When I woke up from the memory of reincarnation, I realized that no one knew where the memory of reincarnation came from, and no one cared about the memory of reincarnation. He only knew that he pitied Yi Chang quickly, and I did not suffer from the burning pain of the heart. It was not until 3 years later that the Eye of Hope was completely awakened, and the entire Sky Eye sect was shrouded in darkness. In the picture, I was kneeling in the sun. In front of the elder. Does the elder have a solution to save my sister? Mu Xin and Ling Hongye outside were shocked. The things inside were exactly the same as outside. The time and events were different. Ling Hongye now believes that this is the reincarnation of the previous life body into the Lei Pond, but here I saw an acquaintance named Yi Bufan who is also from the Tianyan sect. Beiyu Lei Pond is located in the middle of the northern rain. Anyone who sets foot here will be struck by thunder and lightning. The sacred stone will be attracted by lightning. While in the middle, no one dares to enter except those who have ascended thousands of years ago. Lei Shimu is also located in the middle of the thunder pool. Stunned for a moment. I didn't expect to meet him in this place. I just stared at Yi Bufan blankly and threw him into the thunder pool without looking back. Yi Bufan laughed loudly. Isn't this your thunder pool? I can bear it. I gritted my teeth and looked back at him. I looked back at him and held back my anger. You like it that much? Then go and get it. What are you talking about here? Yi Bufan was shocked and angry. Puangji was broken, but Lei Xinmu was located in the center of the Lei pool. If he wanted to go to the center of the Lei pool to get Lei Xinmu, wasn't he looking for death? Seeing the expression he made, I underestimated the son of Qi Yun, who had grown up since he was a child. The picture flashed. Under the erosion of the power of thunder, my holy stone had caused problems. I could only walk forward step by step. The thunder pool was very large, and there were many experienced people around it. Looked at the center of the thunder pool in shock. There were people laughing and laughing. There was a misunderstanding and many people looked at me with admiration. Among them, there was a tall woman wearing a black and red cheongsam with a seductive face who was looking here with interest. This child was Yi Chang. He was behind a man in black who stepped forward to report. The sect leader was Yi Feng's disciple. The leader of the Tianyan sect was interesting. It was interesting that there was a man and a woman sitting on a rock with their legs crossed. A pair of beautiful eyes were silently chanting Chu Bo. Sect, please don't take him away. That Yi Chang was so kind to his juniors, and was even willing to sacrifice his life. Unexpectedly, he turned out to be the one who really wanted this person. During this period, I was unconscious. The power of the thunder pool was ravaging my body and soul. The pain had paralyzed me. There was only one voice left in my mind, which was my sister. After a stick of incense, I actually arrived at the center of the thunder pool. I looked at Lei Xinmu who was right in front of me and muttered to myself. With you, junior sister, I won't suffer anymore. I just stretched out my hand and the overwhelming thunder stopped and bathed me in an instant. My physical body began to show cracks. Knowing that he couldn't leave, he raised his head, then picked up Lei Xinmu and threw it towards Yi Bufan. Junior brother Bufan, I leave Lei Xinmu to you. Junior sister Mu Shi, come and save Lei Xinmu. It escaped from the void and fell into Yi Bufan's hands. The latter looked shocked and said in surprise in an incredible voice. I gave a forced smile. Senior brother and sister, I really like you. You should hand this Lei Xinmu to him. Maybe that's what he wants to see. If senior brother can't come back, let's talk Lei Dang. Come like a tide. He swallowed me in an instant. The screen changed. Yi Bufan dragged his heavy body back to the sect. Senior brother Lei Xinmu, I will get it back for you. The Supreme Elder is here looking at him. The scars and the remaining power of thunder and lightning on the holy stone. No one doubted whether he was just Ling Hongye or Yi Bufan. Yi Bufan immediately nodded without hesitation. I was the one who took it. I originally went to the Lei pool to refine the power of the holy stone, but on the way I met senior brother Cheng and told me about junior brother's situation, so I went to the central area to take Lei Xinmu. Senior brother Cheng is a good person and will do it to the end. This is what you want to see. Quietly disappeared in the Shi Thunder Pool, was rescued by Lei Xinmu from Yi Bufan, and her love for Yi Bufan became stronger. In the real world, Mu Shi has been crying for an unknown amount of time. Master, now you know why I want to protect my senior brother. Alright, Ling Hongye stood still and did not speak. Her eyes were blurred and she did not know what she meant. Maybe he doesn't want to be a good big brother in this life, but it doesn't matter if he is a big brother and I am a little sister. Even if he is a villain, I will still accompany him. When Ling Yi saw this, he just shook his head slightly and left before arriving. Looking at the cliff, I felt very comfortable watching a drama about an exclusive villain. The arrogant system that fell in love with me. It was really amazing. Why didn't I get a drama like this in my previous life? Finished this earlier. Do I have to be so miserable when I take out those things? In my previous life, I was all good people and I would do it to the end. I looked at the cliff. I held a small wine bottle in one hand and grabbed my little sister's hand with the other. Little sister Yunxi, this hand is getting smoother. Do you have any secrets? Senior sister, I saw Yunzai's face turn red and she stomped her feet hard. Senior sister, you teased me. I will file a complaint with the teacher. Yunxi is also Chang Yefeng's disciple, but she is not a Chinese New Year. When she was young, I used to take care of her inside. I like it, senior sister, why did you become so bad? You were never like this before. I laughed. Then senior sister, what do you like? Tell me. Yunzai's face stared. Speed and behavior are in line with the villain. Gift the fiber rope. Inject spiritual energy into the fiber rope and perform the legendary kneeling movement towards the target. Also inspires the opponent's hidden personality. This is very powerful. When I asked this question, Yunxi suddenly fell silent and pouted. Actually, I like these words. Why did you all start talking backwards? Seeing my junior sister's shy expression, I salivated and couldn't help but shout, Weijiafu. Then the next moment, a red rope slipped out of my sleeve and tied my junior sister. The latter said shyly, Senior sister, what are you doing? I sat next to her in awe. I wanted to see who this legendary mighty master was. Yunzai's junior sister's hands were tied and nailed behind her back. The rope was folded in half and placed around her neck. Yunzai's eyes were watery and she looked at me. I pinched my chin. This is really deadly and can inspire hiding. The personality of this mighty master is extraordinary, and the system is also frantically pushing the 1999 villain points to upgrade various attributes. Yunxi gasped for breath and asked loudly, Senior brother, what are you doing to me? Little sister's feelings. This is a new spell learned by the big brother to deal with things inside the witch. He realized that something was wrong. At this time, his face was flushed and he felt that something was wrong. Although it feels incredible, please let me go quickly. If others see it, I am so embarrassed that I laugh and say, only the two of us are on the cliff of disappointment. Let the senior brother study it first. Half an hour later, Yunzai's red face has spread to her wine-red face. Little sister, do you feel something in your heart? The things that have been suppressed for a long time want to be released. Yunxi gritted his teeth and his watery eyes almost shed tears. I pinched my chin and nodded secretly to Yunxi. This little girl can really endure. Forget it, quickly retreat. When I was about to untie her, suddenly a breeze came from beside me. It was Mu Shi. She was wearing a white skirt. She was very cool and graceful. Am I taking revenge for poking out her eye of hope yesterday? She might be very angry. But with my current cultivation level, I am no longer afraid of Mu Shi. Instead, I can use this opportunity to practice and refine her. Mu Shi didn't react at all. She put all kinds of food in her hands on the stone table. Junior sister never held a grudge against her senior brother and used him to take revenge. Right, something is wrong. What happened to this little girl? She used to be so cruel to me. Just one look at me, makes me want to eat her. What happened to her gentle appearance now? These are all things you like on weekdays. Junior sister made them with your own hands. Try it. I hesitated. Yunzai's voice came from next to them excitedly, her small eyes seemed to be watery. Then in the next second, Mu Shi resolutely turned around and left. What did you do to them after breaking the system? I feel that this life is so unusual. I just became black. Why did the heroines start cheating one by one as if they didn't want money? That this system is the child of a good person who will do it to the end. It was the villain of the system who did it. My son didn't ask about this matter. Man, are you so good at playing the system now? Just blackened these heroines, so they were so excited. At this time, Yunzai's small face was pressed red, and her watery eyes looked at her elder sister. Everyone was suspicious of life, but Mu Shi looked at me calmly and senior sister Yunxi, do you need me to guard you? It won't be good if others see it later. I tested her saliva and it's been several times in a lifetime. Mu Shi is very hurt. Okay, please help me to beware of the wind. Remember, don't let anyone in. Mu Shi put down her things and nodded. She suddenly stopped after taking 2 steps unexpectedly. Mu Shi gave a very warm reminder. Senior sister, you can use magic to seal her mouth later. She also likes others to rub her ears alone. I'm very busy. Oh my god, can you tell me such a thing? I smiled evilly, then walked over and squatted down. Hey, little sister Yunxi, I heard that you like to cover your ears the most. Senior sister, try and shout. The voice came, and even Mu Shi, who was guarding the door, heard it clearly. She told her elder brother, remember to close your mouth. Door, heard it. They all froze in place and looked in the direction of the sound. If our guess is correct, the person locked up there seems to be senior brother Chang Yefeng. The 2 patrolling disciples hesitated for a long time and couldn't help but walk over. Senior sister Mu Shi, what's going on here? It seemed that some disciples were shouting and leading the way. One of the patrolling disciples took out his token and handed it to Mu Shi, who had a face as cold as ice and ignored him at all. The senior sister did something and left on her own without asking anything else. After hearing the smoke, the two could only leave in a friendly manner after hearing her voice, and everyone in the sect knew about it. The Wind Master's eyes widened when he heard the news. The Fire Wind Master Tang Wuji even lost his voice. The disciples clenched their fists and trembled when they heard this. We don't know exactly what it does. However, a female disciple's voice came out. The two Wind Masters were speechless. Brother Yi Chong was indeed possessed by an evil spirit. What ridiculous things did he do? I've watched this before. Zi's lifeline was ordinary, but for some reason his temperament suddenly changed. Maybe you're right, but it's not our turn to worry about this matter, to take action. Tang Wuji nodded. I also liked this kid before. Although his talent is not outstanding, his character is very good. Hundreds of disciples are hiding in the dark. At the gate of Wang Cliff, female disciples inside. What's interesting? Mu Shi stood at the gate of Wang Cliff holding a sharp sword. She also, knowing that everyone in the sect probably knew about it by now, she was going to go in and help her senior brother. But she never expected to see her master fall from the sky. Mu Shi, what are you doing here? Ling Hongye frowned and stared. Mu Shi smiled bitterly. Before she could explain, she suddenly heard a voice from inside the cliff. Haha. Ling Hongye froze in place. Am I the only one here? Where did this female voice come from? And her voice sounded a bit like Yun Shi. The little girl Ling Hongye's face changed. Is this Mu Zai's voice? Yun Shi holding a sword and not hiding it. Are Yun Shi and her senior brother playing around inside? Ling Hongye expressed her anger at Mu Shi. Do you know what you are doing? Even if you are very sorry to Brother Chong in your last life, what does it have to do with Yun Shi? You just watched Yun Shi being destroyed in the hands of Brother Chong. Brother Chong is no longer Brother Chong in your previous life. Shike still doesn't care, it's the same sentence. No matter what, if my senior brother is a demon, I will follow him. If my senior brother is an immortal, I will follow him to become an immortal sentence. She has made her position clear. No matter what senior brother wants to do, I will support him. Ling Hongye looked at her. She watched half of the game and finally had no choice but to speak Zai's heart and couldn't shake it. Forget it, she shook her head and walked in. Mu Shi could ignore her, but she couldn't ignore Yun Shi. But as soon as her disciple entered Wang from inside the cliff, I looked up and saw me dressed in white under the tree, crooked neck with crossed legs and happily drinking wine. Yun Shi had already stood up, her face as red as an apple and there were traces of tears, faintly hanging on her face. Shi Ling seeing this, Hong Yi hurriedly rushed over. I also turned around, holding the wine bottle and bowed slightly. Master, are you here? Do you want a drink? My Tien Yun Shi and Mu Zai's eyes widened. Senior brother. I am so bold that even my master dares to tease him to death, and I am not afraid at all. At the same time, a system notification sounded in my mind. The host and villain's actions rewarded him with Pei Yuan pill, a 1-year strength pill. He unconditionally broke through the purple axe mirror and consolidated his strength. Drink it. This made the 3 people present stunned for a moment. Yun Shi thought that because of embarrassment, I want to wait until I leave, before taking care of me. Senior brother immediately disagreed. Master, please don't hit me. My brother doesn't bother me. My eyes stared at my embroidered shoes that were as thin as the sound of mosquitoes and ants. I volunteered. The 3 of them turned their heads and looked at Yun Shi, obviously surprised for a moment. Yun Shi, please go down first. Your master and senior brother drink. He ordered Ling Hongye directly to Zhu Kelly. He stretched out his hand and waved a breeze, sending Mu Shi and Yun Shi out of the cliff. Standing at the door and looking at the barrier on the cliff, I can't get in. What should I do, senior sister? Master, will you hit the senior brother? Yun Shi clenched her fist so anxiously that her face turned pale. Compared to Yun Zai's nervousness, Yun Shi was calmer. To answer this question, she asked, Junior brother, I want to ask why you want to blame senior brother. Why do you want to say that you did it voluntarily? The beautiful eyes stared at Yun Shi, and there were more complexities and questions in her eyes. Yun Shi was treated like this. When she asked, she suddenly became silent but did not tell the latter. Instead, she said, why did elder sister deny the crime of gouging eyes for elder brother? You should know that the person elder sister looked down on the most before was elder brother. Why did your attitude change so much since gouging eyes? The 2 of them stared at each other as if they were blind to each other, without saying a word. At the same time, I smiled in my heart. In fact, I was panicking. I knew Ling Hongye would not kill me, but I was afraid she would hit me. He took out hundreds of bottles of liquor from the inner circle and placed them on the table, which made me tremble. Teacher, are you sure you want to compete with me in drinking? Took a sip of wine and looked at the last one. Ling Hongye was angry in her heart. When did this kid become so immoral? He even dared to tease her teacher. If you really don't know how to respect your teacher, she rolled up her sleeves. Let's bet today. If you win, you will agree to my request. You will never bully your junior sister again. Return to the gentle and graceful senior brother like before. I smiled and said yes, but if I win, you will also agree to my request. I will untie the fairy rope. Next to me nodded and asked curiously. What are you doing with the rope? I looked at him mysteriously. You will know later soon, but 3 hours have passed. Teacher, don't let me underestimate you. I held the wine jar with one hand and hugged Ling Hongye, with the other, thinking of killing me. I am drunk today. If anyone is too cowardly to pretend to be a horse for the other party, he just took a sip, then pinched my face and pointed it at my mouth, then rushed towards me. Master is drunk. They say that the quality of Master's wine is very poor. I never expected it to be this bad. Ding detected that the host was adjusting to the villain's behavior and rewarded the villain with 10,000 villain points. I exchanged it for a fairy rope. A sound broke through the air. The fairy rope flew from the ground like a spiritual snake, then climbed onto Ling Hongyi's body. This time it was a complete full armor. He was not the kind of person who didn't know anything. Ling Hongyi was sitting on the ground greedily. Just looking at it, blood spurted out of his nose and Mu Xin stood outside. You look at me, I look at you. The next moment, Mu Xin stepped forward resolutely. Master, I'll leave it to you. I'll take senior sister back to rest. As Xin walked over, Yunxi became unhappy. No, Master said, senior sister, I'll be here to guard you today. Master, leave it to you. Senior brother, leave it to me, say anything, just staring at the latter coldly. One person on the right raised his head and the other raised his leg. Half an hour later, the two of them lifted me up together, still in the same position. Always felt that there was something that had not been done. One day, the disciple challenge competition was about to begin. A black-robed man with a stern face flew back quickly from outside the sect. A gentle breeze blew past, just in time to reveal 3 words. Yi Bufan is back. Junior brother Bufan, why did you just come back? Something happened in the sect. A fat disciple outside the mountain dragged Yi Bufan to talk to him. Came out of the swamp forest under Bayu and his strength level was already high. Breaking through to the peak of the true essence mirror. In this disciple war, he not only wants to take first place among the outer disciples, but also take first place among the outer disciples of the inner disciples. Let senior sister Mu Xin see that in this sect, only he is worthy of her. The little fat man said anxiously. Senior sister Mu Xin's eye of hope was dug out by the last brother Chong. Hearing this, he was struck by lightning and froze in place for a full 10 seconds. You said, brother Yi Chong took senior sister Mu Xin's eyes of breaking. Not only that, originally senior brother Chong Jie gouged out his eyes because he would be punished by the sect. However, senior sister Mu Xin blamed senior brother Yi Chong instead and said that he took the initiative to give his eyes. It was given to him, so senior brother was not punished at all. After hearing this, various emotions clouded Yi Bufan's mind. Aren't I the kindest person? Are you lying to me? Yi brother Chong is a kind person. He will never do anything to hurt others, let alone senior sister Mu Xin once told me personally that she hates me the most. Why should she do it to me? It is impossible to block her knife. This is absolutely impossible. Yi Bufan must not believe where senior sister Mu Xin is now. The fairy grass in her hand. This is the herb she went to the swamp forest to get the last eye. Xiaopeng said that she should be in the cave. Senior brother Chong Yefeng did not say a word. Xiaopeng hurriedly reminded Bufan that they had all changed. Senior sister Mu Xin is no longer the same person as before. Others say that the big brother is not your brother. Don't be impulsive. Right now, I am lying on the bed in the long night wind, my face is red, and the alcohol has not disappeared from my mind. Nail detected that the host is in line with the villain's behavior. The reward is a Lingyuan pill and 1 year of strength. 18,000 villain points. Brother, why did you suddenly become so evil? You are not only teasing us but also master. I dare to tease you, aren't you afraid that he will hit you? Help you. Senior sister Mu Xin will definitely help you. Besides, master loves her so much and she will definitely not do anything. Senior sister, I suddenly found out that you have changed recently. She is getting more and more beautiful. Yunxi, who was wearing a light yellow dress, held her chin with her hand. She could even smell the unique scent on my body. The more she smelled it, the more she blushed. My brother had sex yesterday. Although I had opened my eyes, I didn't realize what my younger sister wanted to do. I secretly kissed my brother while he was sleeping. Yunxi suddenly jumped out of bed with a sudden movement. Senior sister, when did you wake up? I suddenly blushed. I smiled lightly and immediately pulled Yunxi into my arms. Woke up when you just hugged. I didn't expect that Yunxi actually liked the naughty big brother in her heart. Tell me, she lowered her head slightly. Yunxi was even more shy and wished she could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. You are so shy that you didn't tell me when you woke up. Yunxi hurriedly broke free from my embrace and squatted beside her, holding her head. Seeing her like this, I smiled helplessly and woke up very powerfully. This is the potion I specially made for you. It's good for your health, right? Mu Xin noodles without expression, I handed over the bowl of potion. I sat on the bed first, propped my chin with one hand, and looked at her quietly. Little sister, do you also like naughty ones? My sudden words made Mu Xin feel embarrassed. More. Yunxi hasn't fed me yet. Yunxi immediately nodded and ran over, wanting to take Mu Xin's hand. Unexpectedly, Mu Xin suddenly shrank her hand and stared at Yunxi. Let me tell you. In front of me and Mu Xin, I took off my shoes and slowly climbed onto the bed. My cold face turned red at this moment. This surprised me and Yunxi. You poured ecstasy on her. I didn't know I was a villain. Shouldn't you hate me? This sudden operation almost crossed my waist. Why are you not happy? A word. After reacting, I laughed out loud. Elder sister, ha 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 ha. If I'm happy, then there is Lao Muxin's younger sister. What's more exciting than having a very cold and charming younger sister serving me? And lying at Yunzai's feet for a nail test. The host's behavior is in line with the villain's reward and a year of strength pills. Please tell me if you want to take it. I'm very happy. Now I don't even need to do it myself. I don't even have any medical experience. This is the villain's time travel system. You have grown up. You should learn to handle this kind of thing yourself. Don't bother me. Ding understands that the automatic incubation is in progress, enjoying Mu Shin's administration of medicine. The transformation began to release a layer of faint spiritual energy from all over my body. The pure white color of the spiritual energy is very mysterious. The people next to me looked at it sharply. It's senior sister, did you make a breakthrough? A sharp voice came from my body. It was reported that my gaze became sharper from the peak of Sifujing to the early stage of Gaihajing. This surprised Yunxi and Mu Shin next to me. Fill the Destiny Child disco stick automatically, fill the Gentleman stick automatically, the script still needs the host to find it automatically. I am very happy with the good things. All the hidden levels have been developed. In the past few lives, they were all good people who worked hard to the end and ended up with hatred. Not only can I be a villain in this life, but I also have a variety of fans. Not happy for a long time. A voice came from Chong Yefeng, Brother Yi Chong, come out here. When I heard this voice, I narrowed my eyes. The voice was very familiar. I immediately recognized that the person who came was Yi Bufan. I am very familiar with this boy. I let him get a lot of benefits in his previous life. It's time for you to give something. Yi Bufan is back in this life. My light and airy voice sounded very familiar. Mu Shin was stunned for a moment and looked at the latter's eyes. Yi Bufan's appearance suddenly appeared in her mind, and of course, fragments of his reincarnation memory. The little bit of goodwill left in Xuanji's heart suddenly disappeared. Senior brother, I have nothing to do with Yi Bufan. Mu Shin pursed her lips and said after hearing this. I suddenly straightened my back to him and smiled. Are you sure, brother, if I remember correctly? You seemed to value him very much before. Yunxi also nodded and said. Yes, senior sister, didn't you say that senior brother Bufan is very talented, even more talented than the previous senior brother? Could finish her words. Mu Shin closed her mouth. Unfortunately, I came out and crippled him. In the previous life, Mu Shin was the daughter of Destiny and Yi Bufan was the son of Destiny. They were supposed to be a couple. However, the script is different in this life. It seems that the development is also different. The script does not only require me to fall in love. Another way to tease the younger sister, master and elder sister is to destroy the son of Destiny. Yi Bufan's current term and cultivation came at the right time. You may not really be able to do it. I defeated Yi Bufan. After all, he is the son of Destiny. But just thinking about it is exciting. After I finished speaking, I continued to lie comfortably on Yunzai's lap. While enjoying Mu Shin's stomach medicine massage, the noise outside the door became louder. Yi Bufan, are you looking for death? Mu Shin, if you don't come out, don't blame me for coming to find you. Yi Bufan roared and kicked the cave open. When he raised his head, he immediately stayed there. The fairy grass in his right hand fell to the ground unconsciously. He met junior brother Bufan here. As for Mu Shin next to him, she didn't look at him at all. Yi Bufan clenched his fists and looked at the scene in disbelief, done to senior sister. I'll kill you. The roaring sound spread throughout the palace and even to the outside world. The sound spread throughout the night wind under the mountain. Is this so exciting? Go and see. I listened to his roar and became desperate. It seemed that the halo worked. I had so much hatred that I wanted to kill myself. The more I roared, the angrier I became. Yi Bufan, do you know how well I know you? I even said that I know you better than you know yourself. Do you understand what I mean and still shout, but I smiled faintly. His eyes couldn't help but look at the ring on his hand. At this time, many disciples outside also appeared one after another in the cave. Do you see death? An outer disciple actually wanted to kill senior brother. He was looking for death. Senior brother, do we need to take action to kill Yi Bufan? I just smiled the child of destiny and the villain. Wherever I go, people fawn on you. You can't escape hostility wherever you go. But I ignored them and instead turned to stare at junior sister Mu Shin. Yi Bufan also stared nervously at senior sister Mu Shin. Yi Cheng must be able to control you. What are you talking nonsense? When did you need to take care of senior brother's affairs? Get out now. I feel nauseous when I see you now. Do you understand? Any emotion is like 1,000 arrows piercing the heart, making Yi Bufan's heart feel like a knife. Senior sister, what are you talking about? I suddenly stood up and looked at him with a smile. You are disgusting. As soon as these words came out, Yi Bufan was immediately stunned. He was angry with me and pointed the sword straight at my senior sister with his right hand. I will kill her. As long as I kill her, she can no longer threaten you. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the inner ring on his right hand. At this moment I turned my head with an ugly smile. Haha, he is indeed the son of destiny. Bufan, calm down. The situation is not good. The voice in Yi Bufan's heart sounded, but it was useless. I will kill you today. He had already charged forward with a sharp sword. At this moment two voices sounded at the same time. Do you have the qualifications to attack senior sister? The spiritual energy at the scene fluctuated instantly. The disciples on the periphery were all shocked. In just one meeting, they saw Yi Bufan's cultivation behind in front of Yunxi and Mu Shi. Senior brother Feng, why are you protecting this demon? Yi Bufan spoke while dancing his sword. In the past, I danced the sword for friendship, but now it's different. Yi Bufan, you will only make me sick. Yi Bufan, your tone is still as cold as ever, and there is no mercy in your sword moves. The two of them could only make a few moves. Drawing a tie with him shocked everyone. Ding, the son of destiny, and the daughter of destiny got a complete break from the host. Luyun 3 swords, the best heaven level skill. Luyun 3 swords were automatically put into the host's mind. Sitting next to me, I sneered and stared. I didn't just want to destroy Yi Bufin. I wanted to take everything from Yi Bufin to avenge my previous life. Yi Bufin was still shouting, "Senior brother, why did you become like this? What have I done to you?" "I hate it," Mushi said coldly, "I don't care. Senior brother, I am willing to be by his side in this life. Even if he wants to become a devil, I will still be by his side and serve him to humiliate him, don't blame me." Yunshi didn't say much. He only knew that he would not allow it. Others humiliated senior brother. Yi Bufin went completely crazy. Yi Chenghu gave his senior sister a kind of ecstasy. As long as he killed his senior sister, she would wake up. He hit them both with one palm and then flew straight towards me. Facing the endless hatred in Yi Bufin's eyes, I looked very calm. As I waited for the words to fall, I raised my hand and slapped a palm. A huge force was released from my hand. How could it be so strong? I smiled faintly and stood among the mountains, looking at Yi Bufin with an expressionless face as he hovered with skill. Not exaggerating his ability, the more insulting I was, the greater the impact I felt on Yi Bufin, the bigger the nail that the host he interrupted, the son of destiny. 3 extraordinary rib meals rewarded the host with 10,000 demon immortal points and immeasurable skills. Have a total of 9 levels up to the 8th level. They can repair the immortal demon land. They can swallow the lifeblood of others and enhance their skills. Especially the lifeline. The son of destiny is able to stand up to the sky in this life. I have heard of the earth level skills of the system. This immeasurable level must be stronger than the earth level. If you reach the 8th level, you can become immortal in the land of demons. It is not that it is not strong, it swallows the lifeblood of others and enhances its skills. It seems that I am a villain. Seeing this method of enhancement, I don't feel any emotion in my heart. Kindness to the enemy is cruelty to myself. There is no psychological burden for me. It is time to take revenge. Those who have bullied me in my previous life must die, before I kill Yi Bufin. I also want to get Yi Bufin's inner world because the Li family is so beautiful. At this time, I humbly watched his disciple Yi Bufin break into the great disciple Chong Yefeng at the bottom of the cliff. He immediately flew beside him. More than a dozen disciples of the law enforcement hall and hundreds of disciples came to see Yi Bufin. At this time, his limbs were severed and his body was full of holes. The stubborn eyes were still full of hatred and fighting spirit. Yi Bufin said word by word, "I will kill you." I smiled coldly and didn't take it seriously at all. Killing you is what I want, but before that, let me give you all my belongings. Take it. I'm not just talking about Mu Shi, but also her back became cold. What does he mean, what does he want to do, and who is he talking about? After the words came out, I stretched out my index finger and lifted the leaf slightly. The inner ring on Bufin's index finger actually flew out. The person behind him held it tightly. Seeing this, Yi Bufin was furious. He couldn't help it anymore. What do you want to do? Return that thing to me, even reaching the corner of his mouth. They all tore apart on their own, and blood flowed profusely. This was his lifeline. The inner ring contained his lifeline, which was 1,000 times more important than Jimuxi. The goal from the beginning was to wait for him to do so and then take the item reasonably. However, I didn't give him a chance to explain for 7 days. These 7 days will be your end, so you should enjoy it. Several disciples of the law enforcement hall immediately moved to press Yi Bufin in. The matter here was over. I played with the inner ring in my hand. Yunshi pinched my shoulder and asked curiously, "Senior brother, why did Yi Bufin come to provoke you?" As if she had a deep hatred, I threw the inner ring in my hand and my thoughts were pulled back. "You should ask your senior sister about this, right?" Mu Shi, the latter did not speak and only lowered her head silently at the roar coming from the other side of the cliff. I was stunned for a moment. Master, he was looking for Mu Shi and Yunshi next to me. The boss's eyes were wide open, as if he had seen a ghost. How could we forget that Master was still bound by the armor? Hearing this, I trembled and almost fell off the bed. "Yesterday, you didn't untie Master," Yunshi shouted as he brought him back. "Ah, I don't care. I blame my elder sister because she insisted on snatching him from me. I forgot about it and then ran with my feet to go down the mountain to avoid the high-level wind. The new rope usually can't get into his body, but after being tied up, even if Dujaki's great strength came, there was no way to break free today. Originally, the master was drunk and it was a shame not to remember him in his heart. Now it's all over. Now that he is sober, he looks at himself in a shameful way. I was tied to the ground by a disciple. Isn't this going to scratch me alive?" At this time, Master's voice sounded again. "Brother Yi Chong, hurry up and roll towards me." It resounded throughout the sect like a red ball. But I was helpless, thinking about what else I should do to calm myself down before I go back, to untie him. No. If I run away and no one is willing to untie him, he probably won't be able to calm down. Forget it. I was originally planning to study this inner ring, but it turned out to be fine. Let's do it tonight. As soon as my front foot reached the cliff and I didn't even have time to enter, I felt the breath of a saint. I swallowed my saliva. I walked in. Sure enough, as soon as I entered, I saw the curved figure of the master lying staring at me on the stone table. The armored woman showed off everything her master had and didn't have. I awkwardly greeted the master and then saw the master staring at me fiercely. Gulong swallowed his saliva and I immediately walked over and squatted down. The master smiled evilly. "Master, do your neck and thighs hurt? You've been holding this position for a long time." Saying this, I started rubbing his shoulders and thighs without waiting for the master's answer. The master was very angry at first. My face immediately turned red. As I rubbed it, I found that the master was actually very cooperative. The immortal rope is really amazing. Even people like master have developed another personality. Villain price 19.99 ding bundle of immortals. The experience value of the rope increased by 10,000. Good fellow, it was indeed produced by the villain system. After massaging it for a while, I said with a bad smile, "Master, are you okay?" She had a reddish face and originally closed her eyes to enjoy what she said. "What are you doing? Quickly untie me." I smiled slightly and moved my hand roughly, pressing hard on a certain acupuncture point. The next moment, a gasp sounded like thunder, and the sound was loud. Looking at the cliff, the news spread throughout the door. The two disciples guarding the door felt weak when they heard this scream. "Junior brother, did you hear the scream that you shouldn't have heard just now?" Next to him was already flushed, his hands in his pockets. Entering the password, this sudden suma made him feel endless aftertaste. "What happened to me? Why do I feel so comfortable? What did you do to me?" Ling Hongye glared at me. I smiled evilly. "Teacher, one of the characteristics of my rope is that it can know other people's personality and special interests and hobbies." Hongye blushed and talked. "Nonsense." I pressed hard again. The numb feeling came again, which made Ling Hongye even more relieved and confused. I put my right index finger on my lips and told teacher to be quiet. "Others will hear it later." "Damn Chang, when did you become so bad?" Ling Hongye struggled for a while, but she couldn't speak at all, she couldn't move. "I don't know where she got the magic weapon." "Quickly untie her, master, otherwise I'll be very angry." But the red color made her feel cold. "It's not like that, and I won't play with the rope anymore." As soon as the rope was loosened, Ling Hongye's temperament immediately returned to its previous appearance. Shu's red cheeks glared at me fiercely, walked out without saying a word. Looking at Master's leaving figure, I became more and more interested in the bundle of threads. I really wanted to try it with someone else. The bundle of threads could work on the soul. Nail bundle. The increase in experience value from the string could work on all beings, including the soul. This is indeed a villain system. It has won my heart. Once I get caught in a sneak attack, wouldn't it be the master of women's nemesis? After I let go, I resolutely returned to the cave and began to study the inner solution. In my hand came out of it. I fanned it with one hand and sat on the chair and said with a smile. There was no movement at all. It seemed that I was not angry with the situation. There is someone here and I also know his name. Seeing him remain silent, I smiled slightly and put it on my hand. A white lotus appeared in his hand. "Come on, clever ice. I have something here that nourishes the soul. Are you sure you don't want it?" After the voice fell, Neji still didn't react at all. Seeing this, I couldn't help but frown, but the white figure in Neji was shocked. He didn't just know my existence. "You still know my name, who am I?" No, I can't go out, otherwise I'll be in danger." His hands and feet were tied with iron chains, and he was hung like a dead person. At this time, his whole body was covered in blood. Suddenly stopped between his eyebrows, and a flash of white light forcibly woke him up. Can Bufin hear his master's words? Yi Bufin, who was slowly waking up, felt a terrible pain all over his body, and couldn't help but take a breath. "Master, is that you, master? Weren't you snatched away by that bastard?" Ji Lingshuang's shadow appeared in front of Yi Bufin. At this time, her eyes were full of worry, feeling heartbroken. "The talisman was snatched by Yi Chang, but I left a life soul in you.